If you live with a cat, you have seen it do this. The cat will sit in the middle of an empty room. It will face a blank section of wall, and for the next several minutes, sometimes for half an hour at a time, it will stare at absolutely nothing. Ears forward, pupils tracking, whiskers occasionally twitching. You walk in, the cat does not move. You wave a hand, the cat does not break the stare. Something is there, just not for you. This behavior has a name in veterinary literature. Cat owners call it the wall stare. Researchers call it sustained orientation behavior. And the explanations range from the genuinely scientific to the genuinely strange. We are going to walk through what is actually happening, what your cat may be perceiving that you cannot, and the one possibility that makes some cat owners deeply uncomfortable when they hear it. First, the basic visual hardware. A cat's eye is significantly different from a human's. The pupil is vertical slit-shaped, which gives the cat enormous depth of field control in bright light and extreme light gathering in low light. The retina contains a layer of reflective tissue called the tapetum lucidum that bounces incoming light back through the photoreceptors a second time. This is why cat eyes glow in the dark when caught by a flashlight. It is also why cats can see in conditions roughly 6 times dimmer than the human visual threshold. Cat color vision is more limited than human color vision. They see blue and yellow well, and they have reduced red-green discrimination, similar to a human with red-green color blindness. But where they make up for it is at the edges of the visible spectrum. Research from City University London in 2014 demonstrated that cat retinas can detect light into the near ultraviolet range between 300 and 400 nanometers, which is below the threshold of human visibility. Ultraviolet light reflects off many materials in ways humans never notice. Urine trails of small mammals fluoresce in UV, so does some bird plumage. So do certain mold colonies, dried saliva, fingerprint oils, and old food residues. When your cat stares at a wall, it is genuinely possible that the cat is looking at a UV fluorescent stain on the paint that was left by a mouse, a moth, or a previous occupant that you, with your human visual system, simply cannot see. Vision is only one channel. Cats hear in a frequency range that extends well beyond human capability. A human's upper hearing limit is approximately 20,000 hertz. A cat's upper limit is approximately 64,000 hertz, more than 3 times higher. Cats hear in a range humans physically cannot perceive. This is significant because the world is full of high-frequency sound that humans never notice. Mice and rats communicate in ultrasonic chirps at 30 to 50,000 hertz. Bats echolocate. Many insects produce high-frequency cues during movement and mating. Modern household electronics, particularly older switching power supplies, transformers, and certain LED drivers, emit ultrasonic whines that humans cannot hear at all. Your cat hears all of them. When your cat stares at the wall, there is a strong chance the cat is not actually looking. It is listening. Cats triangulate sound location with extraordinary precision, partly because each ear can rotate independently up to 180 degrees, and partly because the brain compares arrival times of sound between the 2 ears at submillisecond resolution. A mouse moving inside the wall cavity behind the drywall, 100 feet of pipe rattling slightly in a basement, and electrical contact clicking once every few minutes. These are all things the cat is following, and you are not. There is a third sense involved. The vomeronasal organ. Most cat owners have seen the phlegm response. The cat finds something interesting, opens its mouth slightly, curls the lip back, and stares into the middle distance with a slightly stupid expression. What it is doing is pulling air across a small auxiliary scent organ in the roof of its mouth. The vomeronasal organ detects pheromones and other chemical signals that the regular nose does not process. When the cat enters this mode, the brain is, in a real sense, smelling something so intensely that visual attention turns inward. The wall stare can be a vomeronasal stare. The cat is parsing a chemical cue, possibly an old pheromone trace from another cat, possibly something from a small animal that ran through the wall cavity weeks ago. You cannot smell it, The cat is reading a complete chemical message that lasts longer than human visual attention. All of the above are reasonable. UV, ultrasonic sound, pheromones. But there is a fourth hypothesis that some researchers in feline behavior have quietly raised, and that owners of orange cats and certain Siamese lions report with notable frequency. Something the cat may be experiencing internally. Cats have unusually active dopamine and serotonin systems in regions associated with pattern recognition. In humans, when those same systems run too hot, the result is a phenomenon called pareidolia, the perception of meaningful patterns in random noise. We see faces in clouds. We see figures in wood grain. The hypothesis is that cats, with their heightened pattern recognition wiring, may be more prone to brief internal misfires, a flicker of perceived movement on a wall where nothing is actually moving, a patch of color shifting where nothing has shifted. The cat sees something. The wall does not contain it. In other words, some of the time, your cat stares at a blank wall. The cat may genuinely be perceiving something that is not in the room, something that exists only as a transient brain artifact generated by the cat's own visual cortex, a small, private hallucination. Mostly harmless, mostly pleasant, mostly just a side effect of being an animal with very loud sensory hardware. This is not a fringe theory. It is hard to test directly because we cannot ask the cat what it sees. But it is consistent with the neurochemistry, with the unusually high rate of wall staring reported in cats with hyperactive temperaments, and with the strange but consistent observation that cats appear to react to environments that, by every measurable channel, contain nothing to react to. The cat is not haunted. The cat may simply be running a perceptual system that occasionally produces its own input. Most wall staring is benign. It is one of the normal range behaviors of a domestic cat. But there is a clinical condition you should know about: feline hyperesthesia syndrome. An older or stressed cat that displays wall staring along with episodes of skin rippling along the back, sudden vocalization, sprinting attacks, and aggressive self-grooming may have a real neurological condition that warrants veterinary attention. Hyperesthesia is treatable, often with environmental enrichments, sometimes with anti-anxiety medication, occasionally with anticonvulsants. The condition is rare, but distinct. If your cat's wall staring is accompanied by other symptoms, or appears suddenly in an older cat that did not do it before, book a vet appointment. If your cat has stared at walls calmly its entire life with no other signs of distress, the cat is almost certainly fine and is just running a sensory system that has more channels than yours. So the next time you find your cat staring at an empty corner, consider what you might be missing. A UV fluorescent stain you cannot see, an ultrasonic squeak you cannot hear, a pheromone trace you cannot smell, or occasionally, a brief flicker of self-generated perception that exists only in the cat's own brain. In every case, the cat is doing something more complicated than nothing. The room is not empty to your cat. You just live in a sensory world that has fewer channels than its world does. Wall staring is one of the small reminders for those of us who live with cats, that we are sharing the house with an animal whose perception of reality is not the same as ours. The cat does not see less. The cat sees differently. And in the corner of every room, there is almost certainly something the cat is reading that we will never read. If you want more on the sensory world of your cat, hit subscribe. See you on the next one.